Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Protests intensify in Los Angeles after National Guard deployed over immigration raids race off with law enforcement. Trump threatens action against demonstrators. Ukraine rejects claim of Russian forces entering key central region. Zelenskyy vows to press on with prisoner exchanges with Moscow. World leaders gather in France for the third UN Ocean Conference. Union Minister Jitendra Singh leads the Indian delegation. Climate change, pollution, loss of ecosystems high on its agenda. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar begins a week-long visit to France and Belgium. Will hold talks with EU leaders. Aims to renew momentum to ongoing cooperation in diverse areas. And in sports, Carlos Alcaraz pulls off a stunning comeback after beating 2 sets down to defeat Yannick Sinner, defends French Open title after longest Roland Garros final. As the demonstrations over federal immigration raids continued for a third day in Los Angeles, U.S. troops have made their first detentions inside military areas set up on the U.S.-Mexico border as part of the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration. Arrests are being initiated. Meanwhile, the National Guard have been deployed, culminating in confrontations between protesters and the police. The unprecedented military areas along the 260 miles of border in New Mexico and Texas were declared extensions of U.S. Army bases by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The troops are temporarily detaining migrants and other civilian trespassers. U.S. President Donald Trump speaking to reporters in New Jersey amid the ongoing demonstrations in Los Angeles against immigration raids, threatened action against demonstrators. Trump said that if strong action will be taken, if danger is felt.
Is what I think it is. I mean, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order. We're going to see what we need. We'll send whatever we need to make sure there's law and order.
Yes, exactly.
If people stand in the way of law and order, yeah, they will face charges.
California Governor Gavin Newsom and U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth traded insults on social media over the deployment of the National Guard by Donald Trump. After U.S. Secretary of Defense posted on X that U.S. Marines could also be deployed if violence continued, the Californian government has shot back and called it a deranged behavior. Hegseth then responded, writing, "Deranged equals to allowing your city to burn and law enforcement to be attacked." Newsom wrote on X that these are the acts of a dictator, not a president. He accused Trump of trying to manufacture a crisis and called National Guard deployment in Los Angeles as unlawful. He also requested the Trump administration to withdraw its order to deploy 2,000 National Guard troops in Los Angeles County. Bolivia's government deployed military forces to secure roads amid protests calling for former President Evo Morales to be reinstated as a candidate in the August presidential election. The health ministry reported that demonstrators attacked an ambulance carrying injured individuals during the unrest, marking a sharp escalation in tensions ahead of the vote. President Luis Arce condemned the violence against the medical staff and said that he would make an international complaint. He also accused Morales of taking advantage of his supporters and their well-being. Morales, who was barred from running by electoral tribunal, said that he was fighting to defend democracy, the economy and the country's natural resources. A shocking act of political violence has rocked Colombia. A leader presidential candidate is still in critical condition after being shot at a campaign rally in Bogota on Sunday. 39-year-old right-wing Senator Miguel Uribe underwent successful initial surgery to contain injuries from an attack, but doctors warned his life was still in serious peril. Uribe's shooting has utterly shocked a nation that had believed decades of bloody political and narco violence were largely in the past. Although a security guard at the scene captured the alleged gunman, the motive for the shooting is still not known publicly. Uribe had been a fierce critic of Colombia's left government, of guerrilla groups that still control chunks of the country, and of ultra-powerful drug cartels. Authorities are investigating the motive, offering a reward of over $700,000. Hundreds took to the streets in major cities on Sunday to light candles, pray, and voice their anger at the attack. Uribe's wife, Maria Claudia, thanked Colombians for their support and asked that they collectively pray for his survival.
Miguel sigue luchando fuertemente por su vida y les pido a cada uno de ustedes que sigamos en oración fuerte, que no desfallezcamos y que estemos unidos en oración. Gracias.
Russia on Sunday announced that its troops had reached the border of Ukraine's east-central Dnipropetrovsk region. Now, Russia's defense ministry said that forces from a tank unit had reached the western border of Donetsk People's Republic and are continuing to develop an offensive in the region. On the other hand, Ukraine's military dismissed Russia's claim that its ground forces had entered the region for the first time, calling it disinformation. Although there is ongoing discussion about peace, the conflict is intensifying, with Russian troops seizing more Ukrainian territory, while Kyiv launching prominent drone strikes and sabotage operations targeting Russia's nuclear-capable bombers. Separately, Ukraine and Russia continued testy exchanges over the details of a planned large prisoner swap agreed during the last week's talks in Turkey. The exchange is likely to move ahead in the coming days. Meanwhile, in a nightly video address, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy vowed on Sunday to press on with prisoner exchanges with Russia and said that any failure by Moscow to uphold humanitarian accords cast doubt over US and other efforts to end the more than 3-year-old conflict.
Ukraine continues to do everything possible so that the release of our prisoners of war and the repatriation of the bodies of our Ukrainian fallen takes place. Full lists from Russia, about which we agreed in Istanbul, are still not being handed over to us. The important thing is to get a result. The important thing is for people to return home. We hope the prisoner exchanges will continue.
Повних списків від Росії на 1000 людей плюс.
The Israeli army has retrieved the body of Hamas's military chief Mohammed Sinwar in an underground tunnel beneath the European hospital in Khan Yunis following a targeted operation last month. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced Sinwar's death last month. Sinwar was the younger brother of Yahya Sinwar, the Palestinian militant group's deceased leader and mastermind of the deadly October 7th attack on Israel. Israel's army on Sunday also gave a small group of foreign reporters a tour of the tunnel. IDF spokesperson Brigadier General Efi Defrin said the tunnel had served as a major command and control compound for Hamas and that the tunnel was targeted by Israeli forces in an operation last month. Defrin informed that the army had carefully planned the strike near the European hospital in order not to damage it.
We are here in the city of Khan Yunis. This is the European hospital right behind me. The European hospital in Khan Yunis. You can see the very big hole in the ground right in front of it. This is the entrance we opened for a very big command and control compound, Hamas command and control compound. Yet this is another example of the cynical use of Hamas, using civilians as human shields, using civilian infrastructure, hospitals, again and again. We find those infrastructure. We would prefer not to be here today. I would prefer not to, the IDF would prefer not to hit or target hospitals. We didn't target hospital. It is a big achievement for us heating in the outskirts of the hospital and around it without damaging the hospital.
A large trench dug in front of the emergency room entrance led to a hole in the claustrophobic concrete tunnel that was used as a hideaway by Hamas fighters. During the search of the site, Israeli forces recovered weapon stockpiles, ammunition, cash and documents that are now being reviewed for intelligence value. Another senior Hamas leader, Mohammed Shabana, commander of the Rafah brigade, was also found dead at the scene along with a number of other terrorists who are still being identified. And going back to our top story, we'll get you more visuals coming in from Los Angeles. These are the live visuals we're getting for you from Los Angeles, getting us the latest on the protests in Los Angeles. President Donald Trump had deployed National Guard troops to protect the federal personnel and property at the protests sparked by immigration raids. Now, this is for the first time that the president has called in the National Guard, and 500 active duty Marines are also prepared to deploy. These are two visuals from separate locations in Los Angeles, and in the last 3 days, we've seen that the demonstrations over federal immigration raids continued in Los Angeles. And in fact, U.S. troops have made their first detentions, the first arrests inside military areas set up on the U.S.-Mexico border as part of the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration. These are the visuals we're getting for you from two separate locations in Los Angeles. Also, the National Guard have been deployed, culminating in confrontations between protesters and the police. Grey visuals coming in from Los Angeles. All right, so these were the latest visuals we're getting for you from Los Angeles, wherein the protesters clashed with the National Guard, and the demonstrations are continuing for the third day. We'll keep you updated. Meanwhile, let's turn focus to the other news that we're following. The third United Nations Ocean Conference is set to begin in the French city of Nice on Monday. Co-hosted by France and Costa Rica, the 5-day conference aims to accelerate action on protecting the world's oceans. Here's a report.
The third edition of the conference will seek to mobilize all actors and stakeholders to conserve and sustainably use the oceans. It will focus on key themes such as restoring marine ecosystems, reducing pollution, and promoting ocean-based scientific cooperation. The third UN Ocean Conference will be held from 9th to 13th June. Accelerating action and mobilizing all actors to conserve and sustainably use the ocean is its theme. It aims to identify ways and means to support the implementation of Sustainable Development Goal number 14. The Sustainable Development Goal 14 is also known as Life Below Water. It focuses on protecting and managing marine environments, addressing issues such as pollution, overfishing, and the effects of climate change on the oceans.
The conference itself will adopt a brief, concise, but action-oriented declaration and compile voluntary commitments from all the sectors as a part of what will be referred to as the Nice Ocean Action Plan.
Minister of Earth Sciences Independent Charge Jitendra Singh will represent India at the conference. He will deliver India's national statement at the plenary and hold bilateral meetings with other ministers on the margins of the conference. A key highlight of his visit is an India-Norway side event on sustainable marine governance. Oceans cover more than 70% of Earth's surface. Oceans play a crucial role in regulating environmental balance by absorbing heat and carbon dioxide, moderating the climate, and supporting diverse ecosystems. They are also a provider of vast resources and biodiversity, an important enabler of trade, and an essential link between countries and human communities. And protecting the oceans means protecting a large carbon sink. A carbon sink is anything that absorbs more carbon from the atmosphere than it releases. Ahead of the conference, activists and organizations held protests in Nice demanding better protection of the world's oceans and marine wildlife. Wearing blue and white color clothes, the participants held banners that read, "Protect the ocean, protect life." They denounced activities such as bottom trawling, which is a method of fishing where a cone-shaped net is dragged along the seafloor to catch marine life. It's a destructive practice that can significantly impact the seabed and surrounding ecosystems. Bureau Report, DD India.
Union Minister Jitendra Singh leads the Indian delegation to UN Ocean Conference in France, while on Sunday he addressed the Monaco Marine Conference on Sunday, reaffirming India's commitment to building a resilient blue economy. In his address, the minister said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had underscored the importance of blue economy in his Independence Day address. Minister Singh highlighted the India-Norway collaboration in marine spatial planning, a part of the Indo-Norwegian Integrated Ocean and Research Initiative, which has already produced impactful results. The collaboration has led to pilot projects in Puducherry and Lakshadweep, tackling key concerns such as coastal erosion, biodiversity conservation, fisheries management, and sustainable tourism. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India Live. Let's continue getting you more updates. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar begins his week-long visit to France, European Union and Belgium. During this visit, the minister will travel to Paris and Marseille, where he would be holding bilateral discussions with his counterpart, Minister for Europe and Foreign Affairs of France, Jean-Noël Barrot. The minister would also participate in the inaugural edition of the Mediterranean Raisina Dialogue, which is being held in the city of Marseille. During the visit, the minister will be holding a strategic dialogue with the EU High Representative and Vice President Kasia Kallas. During his visit to Belgium, the minister will hold bilateral consultations with Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Belgium, Maxime Prevot, and will also meet the senior leadership of Belgium. He will also interact with the members of the Indian community. The visit of External Affairs Minister is expected to further deepen India's friendly relations with the European Union, France and Belgium and give renewed momentum to the ongoing cooperation in diverse areas. Prime Minister Modi-led government has completed 11 years in office. Up next, we revisit the government initiatives to empower and uplift the women of the country. Women empowerment has been a hallmark of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government. The next report, in fact, delves into the various government initiatives that are designed to empower the country's women and promote women-led development.
Under the government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the focus has shifted from women's development to women-led development. Over the last 11 years, schemes like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao and Mission Shakti have been a reflection of this. Women and children comprise nearly 67.7% of India's population, and their empowerment is not just social reform. It's a strategic imperative. Let's take a look at initiatives for women. With an investment of over rupees 1.81 lakh crore, Poshan 2.0 is being rolled out to build a culture of well-being through improved practices, stronger immunity, and holistic wellness. One of the world's largest public health efforts, Universal Immunization Program covers nearly 2.9 crore pregnant women annually, protecting both mothers and their newborns from vaccine-preventable diseases. 73% of nearly 2.75 crore PM Awas Gramin Yojana or rural housing scheme beneficiaries are women. Under the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, 10.33 crore LPG connections have been distributed. Over 12 crore toilets have been built under SBM Grameen as part of the Swachh Bharat mission. Over 15.6 crore tap water connections are transforming the lives of the women in rural India who had to fetch water from long distances. More than 34.11 lakh crore loan amount has been sanctioned under Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Notably, 68% of the beneficiaries are women. Mission Shakti is a flagship initiative to ensure the safety, security, and empowerment of women across all stages of life. Women have also made strides in defense. The graduation of the first batch of female cadets from the National Defense Academy is a testament to this. India boasts the highest number of female pilots in the world and leads globally in the proportion of women graduating in STEM or science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The landmark Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam marks a constitutional leap for women's political empowerment by reserving 33% of seats in the Lok Sabha or lower house and state assemblies for women. The Modi government has placed women at the center of India's development journey, transforming everyday struggles into opportunities for health, safety, and self-reliance. From housing to hygiene, each initiative has uplifted lives and strengthened the foundation of Nari Shakti in rural India. Bureau Report, DD India.
Darshan Rana, Chairman and Managing Director of Rana Group, lauded the remarkable economic transformation India has witnessed under 11 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership. Rana highlighted the shift in India's economic landscape, describing it as a drastic and determined leap towards self-reliance.
I saw many changes in this government, the way they have reformed and the economic development, social welfare in 11 years. We have so drastically changed in the economy as well as the controls on the systems. The way economy has grown from 10th position to 4th position today, it's a miracle. No normal person can do. So the growth in GDP and the revolution in the GST and Make in India programs, Digital India programs make our country very efficient.
The flood situation in Assam has improved marginally as the major rivers, including Brahmaputra, showed a receding trend due to decreased levels of rains in the past few days. The flood-affected victims have reduced to 2.5 lakh in 11 districts. The IMD has issued yellow alerts for Tripura, Mizoram, Nagaland, Manipur, Assam and Meghalaya. Thunderstorms and lightning are likely at isolated places over Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Assam and Meghalaya, while 2 landslides were reported in Kamrup and Dima Hasao. Relief and rescue operations are underway. The UK government is to team up with tech giants including Google, Microsoft and Amazon to train 7.5 million workers in AI skills. Prime Minister Keir Starmer is to announce this on Monday. Starmer is also set to unveil $253 million in funding to help develop tech abilities for 1 million secondary school students as part of its Tech First program to bring AI learning into classrooms and communities. The UK's AI sector is growing 30 times faster than the rest of the economy, employing over 64,000 people, according to the government figures. Alongside Tech First, Starmer was also to announce a government-industry partnership to train 7.5 million workers, with tech giants committing to make training materials freely available to businesses over the next 5 years. Let's talk of sports now. Carlos Alcaraz outclassed Yannick Sinner with a comeback special after an enthralling 5-set thriller to lift his second Roland Garros title in Paris on Sunday. It was the first French Open men's singles title clash to have gone past 5 hours in fact, with Alcaraz and Sinner slugging it out for 5 hours and 29 minutes. Alcaraz lost the first 2 sets before suddenly looking practically unbeatable after saving 3 championship points. The momentum swung widely between both the champions, and Alcaraz prevailed with a 4-6, 6-7, 6-4, 7-6, 7-6 scorecard in his favour. Sunday's final was the latest and most electrifying chapter in one of tennis's most captivating modern rivalries. Alcaraz and Sinner had never met before in a major final, and their long-awaited showdown did not just deliver, in fact, it made history. Legendary Cristiano Ronaldo broke down in tears after Portugal defeated favourites Spain to clinch the UEFA Nations League title on Monday. Portugal have won their second Nations League title after a tense final. Portugal converted all 5 of their spot kicks to beat Spain 5-3 in the penalty shootout after the game was held to a 2-each draw at extra time. Ronaldo scored 138th goal of his international career in the final. His goal came over Mikel Oyarzabal, had given Spain a 2-1 half-time lead. After the match remained undecided in extra time, both teams went into penalties. Spain's Alvaro Morata was only one about to miss the shootout, meaning that Portugal were to be crowned the champions for a second time. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.
Welcome to